is Raquel with Keller Williams. Hey, thank you so much for letting us take a look at your listing there on 123 Main Street. My clients are very interested in moving forward. I'd like to know from you, what are your sellers looking for in an offer? And leave it at that and just let them talk and see what they say. Some of them are very communicative in terms of, oh, thank you for asking, they're actually buying another property, so we're gonna need some time to find that property, or they're moving out of state, or they've already moved out, so we're looking for somebody that's ready to move quickly. The goal is we wanna gather as much information so we know how to then give it back to our buyers and know how to really write a strong offer. Because sure, price and certain terms, of course sellers want good terms, but we might be working with a seller that has to find a replacement property. So we need to know that going in ahead of time so we account and budget for that in our offer. Whereas if we go in and say, I want to close in 15 days and this person's been in this home for 30 years, that's going to be a little off-putting for that seller. They may not like that. So we want to present it in the best way possible. So that's what that phone call is about. We want to get the information. The next thing I want to know is, and Shavita, have you guys received any offers yet? Sometimes they are great about being like, oh yeah, we've received a few. This is kind of where we're at. You're going to get some people that stonewall you though. And the way that I like to overcome the stonewalling, if you will, is I will say something along the lines of, you know what, my buyers have a max that they're actually qualified for. The last thing that I want to do is waste your time and our time writing an offer that just doesn't make sense. Can you give me an idea of where these offers are at? And a lot of times they'll at least kind of guide you in the right direction of, well, we're about at asking price, or we're a little bit above. Sometimes they will flat out tell you like, this is where we're at. I've got 20,000 above, and that's great. Then I've got all that information and I can bring it back. My goal is I want to get as much information as possible. So that's when we have our buyer's agent hat on. Now, when I take my buyer's agent hat off and I put my listing agent hat on, my response is very different. I like to be the stonewall agent in that one, but we'll talk about that when we put our listing agent hat on. So we're keeping our buyer's agent hat on. So we've done our due diligence, we've done our investigating. So now we can put together a really strong retrofit offer that makes sense for that seller. So now when we're at the point of actually submitting the offer, more than likely you're going to be sending it via email. Remember, to have a full and complete offer, you need to have what?
Approval letter.
Approval letter. What else?
Letter, yeah.
What else? What else are we submitting with an offer? Besides the offer itself.
We have to have money.
Proof of funds.
Proof of money, that's right. That's right. Debbie is on a good one today. Debbie's ready to write an offer. Debbie was ready to write an offer when she went on the phones today. If all y'all on Zoom didn't know, Debbie had an amazing phone call, and you better come into the office so you can start hearing her amazing phone calls.
Yep.
So we can all have calls like Debbie. Okay, so we need those three things: approval letter, offer, proof of funds. If you don't submit it, it's just one more thing that they're going to have to track down from you, unfortunately. So this is my example of an email that I will send to a listing agent. And it's perfect that Wes just came in the door because Wes is usually CC'd on said emails. So I will say, hi Joe, as mentioned, because we already had a chit chat. As mentioned, attached is an offer for the purchase of blah, 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 Haruba Valley on behalf of my clients, blah, 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 blah. Please see the details of the offer below, and I like to just put nice, clean, pretty bullet points so they know what to expect in the offer. Purchase price, conventional loan with 10% down, 21-day escrow, inspection, appraisal, and loan contingency timeframes, and what we're asking the compensation to be. I also mention Ron and Shannon are well qualified and pre-approved with my preferred lender, Wes Weingarten with Direct Home Lending, who is efficient and incredibly communicative. I have CC'd him on this email, and he is more than happy to answer any financing questions you have. I have a weird thing too, I think I shared this last time. If I don't put this exact verbiage, I feel like I've messed with the mojo, the gods, the universe, the whatever. So I have to put the same verbiage at the end. Wes is like, you do? I have to put this same verbiage at the end of every offer that I write, which is, looking forward to the chance of working with you. Please confirm receipt of this email. If I don't put that, I know it's not getting accepted because I messed it up. So this is one of my things that I have to do. It's like when you have your lucky
ritual.
Yes, that's the word. I have my ritual. This is it. That's my ritual. So I also use a tool through Gmail called Boomerang. It's an add-on that you can just add if you go up here to the hamburger menu or the dots up here. There's little add-ons and things that you can add. Boomerang will track your email and let you know if somebody opened it. And it's free. You can do 10 tracking emails for free per month. I only do it on my offer emails because I just want to make sure that they got it. If I see in the Boomerang they haven't opened it, I know maybe we have a problem. But I'm always following this up with a text or a phone call too, hey, I just emailed it. Can you confirm you got it in your inbox? I have had a number of times, for some reason, I sometimes get put into people's spam. And I think what triggered it is I used to put offer 7940 in the address. They don't like that. If you're putting offer, it sounds like a sales pitch. You're making an offer for selling them something, and I think Google was spamming me and putting me in people's trash. So now I just do RPA. But sometimes people do offer and it seems to work just fine. So that's another ritual, I guess. So notice I CC'd Wes on this email. When Wes then sees this, he now knows to pick up the phone and call the listing agent, which is really just setting a very nice, great first impression of, we are going to be a great team. We are going to over communicate. This is going to be an easy transaction. That's what we want to relay to the listing agent. Now, this listing agent, I had called him ahead of time on this property. He had 2 other offers that had already come in, and we were just chit-chatting, talking, building rapport and all that. And he told me, listen, Raquel, I am not a huge fan of the other 2 agents that have written offers. One did not even call me, didn't text, just sent a blind offer. The other has been incredibly pushy. My clients are elderly. They don't want to feel rushed through this process. If you come in at this price and you are conventional and all the things that we talked about, we'll move forward with you guys. Wow. So he set it up where he was just come in at here, here, here. And this was $10,000 under the asking price. So my clients were great, let's do it. They were ready to write a full price offer, so this was even better. And we were able to just move forward and get the deal done. That's why we want to call ahead of time, because it sets you up for the possibility of success like that with your client. So as you can see, I included the financing package just so you guys can see. This is an example of the financing package that you get with Direct Home Lending. So it's very pretty looking. It includes, the pre-approval letter, the DU, which is great. I'm not going to go through the full DU, but you get the idea.
Ooh, okay.
Oh, we've got people in the waiting room. Sorry, I know Jesse is not feeling well, so I'm having to manage both. Zoomies, if you have questions, I don't know if Jesse is monitoring with us. He's not feeling well, so please be sure to yell it out for us because we can't see you. Okay, so this gives you an idea of what to submit with the offer. Any questions on this with our buyer's agent hat on? Yes.
Can we get that email forwarded so that we can just
Sure.
change the
I don't care. Yeah, you can take a picture, you can copy and paste. I don't care if you rip off R&D, rip off and duplicate. You can totally copy exactly what I put. I don't care. And if you want to add your ritual at the end, you do what you want to do.
If yours get accepted, why change it?
Yes, I'm very superstitious about that. I do change the color every time, though. That's also another thing. So it was purple that day. Okay, so when we write an offer and we submit our initial RPA, remember there's 3 possibilities of what could happen. They will either accept our offer outright, which is honestly very rare. It's very rare that they're just flat out being there's no term on here whatsoever that I have to counter. More than likely, you are probably going to get a counter, or you're going to have your offer rejected and you would get put in some level of backup position, if that makes sense. Now, remember, we've got seller's counter offer and seller's multiple counter offer that we could get back from this. Do we remember the difference? Because I know we've gone over that quite a bit here in the room.
We know the difference.
Zoomies, do we need to go over seller's counter offer versus seller's multiple counter offer, or can we transition to putting our listing agent hat on?
We can transition.
All right, we are transitioning.
There's somebody on this one.
Yep, admit. Okay, so that's from the perspective of a buyer's agent. Now we're gonna put our listing agent hat on. So we're gonna approach things a little bit differently. So hopefully when you're a listing agent, you're gonna get that phone call from somebody saying they've got a buyer that's really interested in writing an offer, all that, because it's setting the tone off nicely. Now, when I get that call and somebody asks me, so where are your guys' offers at? I am of the mindset as a listing agent, I don't wanna tell them. I am not giving price. I am not giving the numbers because I don't want to possibly curb the buyer from coming in higher than maybe if I would have said, oh, well, if you come in at $690, maybe they were thinking of coming in at full price like we were on this one. Maybe they would have come in at $700. If I told them to come in at this price, now my clients just lost the possibility of 10 grand. So I don't usually want to give the number away. I want the onus to be on the buyer. So when they ask me, where are your prices at? My response, I don't lie. If we don't have other offers, I'm not telling them that we do. So if we have no other offers, I will say, we don't have any offers at this time. We've had lots of showings and lots of activity.
Mhm.
And leave it at that.
Showings and
Lots of showings, lots of activity. So that's where we will leave it.
Yeah.
Now, if I do have offers and they ask, I will just tell them we have really strong offers, regardless of where they're at. We have really strong offers. My suggestion is your buyer comes in at their highest and best. Now, if I truly do have people that have come in significantly above, I am going to actually say that because I don't want their highest and best to be at asking price if we're 50 grand over. If we're significantly above, I'm going to say we have offers significantly above asking price. And if they say how much, significantly. And leave it at that. Now, occasionally I might be of the same mindset that this gentleman was of I'm not loving what I'm getting and my seller is wanting to move quickly. They're motivated. We need to find somebody solid. Sometimes you might guide somebody in the right direction, but usually I want the onus to be on them to come in at what they feel is best, because usually we can counter things back and forth if we're not quite where we need to be. That's what I feel. So as a listing agent, I wanted to show an example. I've shown this one before, but I wanted to show an example of what not to do. So this one actually got sent to my spam. My email thought it was sketchy, I guess. It said, "Good morning, Raquel." So this was on my listing. Somebody submit this as their offer. "I hope you had a stellar weekend. Please confirm receipt of my client's offer package. They absolutely loved the largest of this house as well as neighborhood vibes. Thank you oh so much." All he sent was the RPA. That's it. No pre-approval, no proof of funds. And at this property, I had almost 10 offers. So now it prompts me to have to respond back and be like, I need you to send your proof of funds. I need you to send your pre-approval. And now you just created more work for the listing agent to have to just track this stuff down in order to just submit a full and complete offer. Yes, coach.
On my listings on the MLS, I always put incomplete offers will not be presented. No exceptions. So if they say, hey, was my offer presented?
Was it complete?
Was it completed? Because if not, then we didn't even present it.
Yeah, yeah. So what not to do is right here. Now, once I get an offer, there's a process where you actually have to inform the sellers, because we do have a duty to submit and send to our sellers all full and complete offers, but all reasonable offers is technically what the law is. So reasonable is something that's a little bit of a gray area. So I'm usually of the adage of I'm submitting everything, even if it's something 50 grand under, I'm still submitting it to my sellers, even if I know we're complete. Even if I know we're complete. Oh, someone not muted? Even if I know we're not completely close at all, I'm still more than likely gonna present it. The exception is I've had offers that come from those crazy investors where they're blank and they're 200 grand under. I'm not submitting that. And I will tell them in writing, you're way off, like this is not a reasonable offer, I will not be submitting this. My seller won't even look at it. But it's only in those rare situations. Let me see if we can mute the people. Sorry, I'm not.
Mute all.
How do I do that? Oh,
Right there.
mute all. Allow, yes, okay. Thank you. So once I receive an offer from a buyer's agent, first and foremost, I want to make sure it's full and complete. Second thing I'm going to do is I'm going to notify Wes that I got an offer, because I want Wes, if I'm unfamiliar with the lender and it's not someone that I know, then I'm going to have Wes's crew cross-qualify them to make sure the financing is solid. And that is actually a term I'm going to list in my counteroffer. Buyer's offer to be cross-qualified with seller's preferred lender, West Weingarten with Direct Home Lending.
Or accepted subject to cross qualification or
Yep,
something like that.
something like that, exactly. But I then want to also, in writing, submit and send this offer to my seller. Even though I'm going to probably be having a phone call, a Zoom call, or even a face-to-face meeting, I'll do a face-to-face if we've got multiple offers, because there's so much information for them to take in. Usually I'll come, I'll print out the first couple of pages and the summary of each one so we can then figure out what's the best ones to counter. But I still want to send it to them initially on email, so there's a paper trail showing, yes, we did submit all offers to the seller. So this is what that email looks like, which is very similar to the other offer email, which is, Dear Linda and Paco, congratulations on your second offer for 6686 Ashford Mill. So if it's their second, 12th, 13th, whatever, first one, I'm going to mention it. Please see the details of the offer below. Purchase price, conventional loan, the escrow term, what the EMD is, contingencies, and then I want to list all the things that the sellers are expected to cover. So in this offer, the buyers asked that the sellers pay for termite report plus Section 1 repairs, that the sellers pay for the home warranty up to $1,200, extra items to be included, refrigerator, washer, dryer, microwave, and they asked the buyer agency compensation to be paid by the seller at 2%. Now, I do not attach proof of funds to the seller. They don't need to see, as long as I've seen it, that's fine. I don't need to send that along to the seller. I do attach pre-approval and the actual offer itself. That's it. Let this person in. And then more than likely, we've already had a discussion about the offer, or we're about to have a discussion about the offer, but I still want to send it in writing to them. So I've got proof that everything was submitted. Any questions on that? Yes, Debbie.
You're answering each and every one, not just the one you're confirming. You're answering all of the offers.
Yes.
One by one.
So when I got this offer from the agent, I will respond back in an email as soon as possible saying, thank you, offer received. I will submit to the sellers and get back to you as soon as possible. I don't tell them exactly when, because the sellers might need some time once we submit it to make a decision, but I just tell them it will be sent to the sellers to review as soon as possible. And then usually they're on you. They're because the offer expires in 3 days. By the next day, they're like, did you submit to the seller? What did they say? Are we going to get a counter? So a lot of times they're on it. If they're a communicative agent, they're like that, which is a good thing. I get it. I appreciate the over communication than no communication. Now, one thing I want to mention on here is the termite. So as a buyer's agent, when I'm drafting an offer, remember, as a buyer's agent, I'm trying to get as much covered and taken care of for my buyer as possible. One of those things being the termite inspection plus any Section 1 repairs, which are any known now current issues affecting the property. Active termites, active dry rot, active fungus. If there's stuff that needs to be tented. I'm gonna ask for that in my offer. As a listing agent, as someone representing the seller, I don't feel comfortable with my sellers agreeing to Section 1 repairs, because if we haven't had an inspection, it's kind of like signing a blank check. We don't know what that dollar amount is going to be. We don't know if there's termites in the attic and the whole house needs to be tented and it's going to cost $5,000. I don't want to commit them to that without knowing for sure. So usually this would be something as a listing agent I would counter, and I would let them know we will pay for the termite report only, which is $120. And then if there is anything called out, we can cross that bridge when we get there. Then at that point, we've got the inspection report, we've got the appraisal report, we've got the termite, and the seller can make a fully informed decision based on everything, the full picture of what they are and are not willing to do. That's what I want. I want the seller to have all the cards. With the sellers as well, I don't love responding to requests for repairs if we have not gotten an appraisal.
Yep.
Because what if the appraisal comes back $10,000 short? And now we just agreed to a $5,000 credit. Well, now we're potentially looking at a $15,000 gap. So I don't like to respond until everything is done as the listing agent. Any questions on this? We are breezing through today, guys. How we doing, Zoomies? Quiet.
Did you mute?
This is really good. I really appreciate what you're sharing. This is helpful.
Of course, yes. Of course. All right. So again, in this situation as the listing agent, we're gonna be countering with a multiple counter or a seller's counter. And I won't get into it because we said we would breeze past it. The only thing I would say that I just wanna reiterate is do not send a seller's multiple counter offer if you do not have multiple offers. Because if we ever get audited, every document, every file from every transaction is going to be reviewed by the DRE, and if they see that you submit a multiple counter and you only have one, that is technically a violation. So I don't want anyone's licenses to be at risk because they're trying to play some games with the multiple counter, hoping that maybe another offer comes in and you're not locked into the first offer. It's a dangerous game to play. All right. Well, that's about all we had. Usually it takes us an hour to get through that, guys. We breezed through quick today.
Whoa.
Okay, so let's leave this time. We've got 30 minutes. I would love to give you the gift of time back, which I'm happy to do, but let's have this be a little open mic time. If anybody just has any questions, whether it's about